At the time of the KPG extinction, the Deccan Traps flood basalts of India were actively erupting. The eruptions can be separated into three phases around the KPG boundary, two prior to the boundary and one after. The second phase, which occurred very close to the boundary, would have extruded 70 to 80% of the volume of these eruptions in intermittent pulses that occurred around 100,000 years apart. Greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide would have been released by this volcanic activity, resulting in climate change throughout temperature perturbations of roughly 3 degrees Celsius or 5.4 degrees Fahrenheit, but possibly as high as 7 degrees Celsius and 13 degrees Fahrenheit. Like the Chicxulub impact, the eruptions may also have released sulfate aerosols, which would have caused acid rain and global cooling. However, due to large error margins in the dating of the eruptions, the role of the Deccan Traps in the KPG extinction remains unclear. Before 2000, arguments that the Deccan Traps eruptions, as opposed to the Chicxulub impact, caused the extinction were usually linked to the view that the extinction was gradual. Prior to the discovery of the Chicxulub crater, the Deccan Traps were used to explain the global iridium layer. Even after the crater's discovery, the impact was still thought to only have had a regional, not global effect on the extinction event. In response, Luis Alvarez rejected volcanic activity as an explanation for the iridium layer and the extinction as a whole. Since then, however, most researchers have adopted a more moderate position which identifies the Chicxulub impact as the primary progenitor of the extinction, while also recognizing that the Deccan Traps may also have played a role. Walter Alvarez himself has acknowledged that the Deccan Traps and other ecological factors may have contributed to the extinctions in addition to the Chicxulub impact. Some estimates have placed the start of the second phase in the Deccan Traps eruptions within 50,000 years after the Chicxulub impact. Combined with the mathematical modelling of the seismic waves that would have been generated by the impact, this has led to the suggestion that the Chicxulub impact may have triggered these eruptions by increasing the permeability of the mantle plume underlying the Deccan Traps. Whether the Deccan Traps were a major cause of the extinction on par with the Chicxulub impact remains uncertain. Proponents consider the climatic impact of the sulfur dioxide released to have been on par with the Chicxulub impact, and also note the role of flood basalt volcanism in other mass extinctions like the Permian Triassic extinction event. They consider the Chicxulub impact to have worsened the ongoing climate change caused by the eruptions. Meanwhile, detractors point out the sudden nature of extinction and that other pulses in Deccan Traps activity of comparable magnitude did not appear to have caused extinctions. They also contend that the causes of different mass extinctions should be assessed separately. In 2020, Alfio Chiarenza and colleagues suggested that the Deccan Traps may have had the opposite effect. They suggested that the long-term warming caused by its carbon dioxide emissions may have dampened the impact winter from the Chicxulub impact. That's the end of the video, people. If you enjoyed it, it'd be greatly appreciated. Watch more videos and maybe subscribe. It's as free to unsubscribe as it is to subscribe. So if you've done up my videos, you can always unsub. Anyway, I've been Forever Stranger, and this was episode 20 of Slivering Society.